Planning Commission meeting. This is January 2nd, 2024. Had to make sure I said that right. Could we have the roll call, please?
Chairman McPherson.
Here.
Mayor Larkey. Councilmember Pryan.
Here.
Commissioner McDonough.
Here.
Commissioner Monahan Bass. Commissioner Vest. Commissioner Walton.
Here.
Commissioner Warren. Commissioner Wilson.
Here. Thank you. First item we have on the agenda this evening would be for the approval of our minutes from our December 19, 2023 meeting. And
Make a motion, we approve the December 19th meeting.
very good. We've got
A second.
Motion and a second. Thank you. Are there any corrections, revisions that need to be noted? Seeing none, all those in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. All right. We do have a public hearing on the agenda this evening. We will call that to order. This is a public hearing for RZ 2023-05, an application for a rezoning to C2, General Commercial, for property located at the southwest corner of East North Avenue, 58 Highway, and Interstate 49. And we will have our Community Development Director, Mr. Wright.
All right, thank you, Chair McPherson. Before this evening is a request for the rezoning of property at the southwest corner of 58 Highway and I-49. The subject property does not currently have a zoning designation as it was previously MoDOT right-of-way. This property has been deeded over to the city and was annexed on December 12th, 2023. Staff is requesting the property be rezoned to C2 General Commercial, which matches the adjacent properties to the south and west. The approximately 3.5 acre property includes the former MoDOT commuter lot as well as Peculiar Drive. Peculiar Drive will be vacated once the traffic improvements have been made that will eventually realign Peculiar Drive at what is currently Powell Parkway, which is the access drive at the traffic signal between MoDOT or between McDonald's and Dutch Bros. That will open this property up to additional future commercial development opportunities. But for right now, we are just establishing the zoning on that. Staff believes that the requested rezoning meets the intent of the future land use map, as well as the findings of facts in the UDC section 20-3, and therefore we recommend approval.
All right. Since this is a public hearing, we'll ask, is there anyone here to speak for or in opposition? Ask one more time. Anyone to speak for or opposition? Then we will close the public hearing. And Commission, anyone have any questions, comments? Great frontage property. I know we talked about that a little bit in the comprehensive plan. Great frontage property right along 49.
Yep.
That
You have a
could be
timeline on
developed.
going into Powell?
So the street improvements will start in the spring,
Oh, really?
and they should be complete by winter of next year.
Oh, nice.
Good. So that will eliminate that traffic
Yeah,
merging out at 58
One
at
less
that
light.
point.
One less traffic signal.
Great. All right. If there is no additional questions or comments, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the rezoning.
All right.
Second.
All right, thank you. Motion and a second. Any final comments? Seeing none, could we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner McDonough.
Aye.
Councilmember Pryan.
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Commissioner Walton.
Aye.
Chairman.
Aye. All right. That has been approved. Next item we have is is under the heading of non-public hearings. And first item there is PP 2023-04, an application for a preliminary plat for Autumn Woods, a 34-acre, 5-tract multifamily subdivision on 11.39 plus or minus acres, generally located at the northwest corner of West Markey Road and Belton Avenue.
All right, thank you, Chair. Since all three of these items are related, I'm going to just give one presentation. These are requests for a preliminary plat and final plats for Autumn Woods Phases 1 and 2. The preliminary plat covers the entire 11-acre property, which includes 34 lots and 5 tracts. The preliminary plat does match the site layout as it was previously approved with the amended preliminary and final development plans that came through earlier or back in 2023. However, now that the lot lines have been proposed, modifications are needed to some lot sizes and setbacks based on where those lot lines are located. That does include, as noted in the staff report, reducing 13 lots below the 7,800 square foot minimum size to as low as 6,847 square feet, and some of the lot widths from 65 feet down to just under 45 feet. Additionally, some of the lot depths are being reduced from 120 to 85.59 feet. Again, none of the overall layout and the density is the same as what was previously approved. It's just the lot lines are that size based on where the amenity tracts are as well as where the floodplain lies. And with that, staff does not have any concerns with those, that we do believe that those are acceptable modifications to make this plat work based on the previously approved plans. Additionally, one thing that also changed here is that the rear yard setback for lot 26, which is up here in the northwest corner, is requested to be reduced from 20 feet to 12 feet, as there is a provision in the subdivision regulations that does not allow any platted lot to encroach into a floodplain. The floodplain is along the entire western boundary going up to the northeast corner of the property. Again, the building is remaining where it was previously proposed, just the lot line is shifting in, so there's not a change in the site plan or the density of the development. The site does include 5 common tracts, all of which must be maintained by the owner. If the property owner does begin to sell lots separately in the future, a property owners association must be established to ensure the shared long-term maintenance of the common tracts. Those tracts include the amenity tract in the center, the tract with the floodplain, and then a smaller tract here at the southeast corner adjacent to the Markey and the railroad. And then the other 2 tracts are the access drives, since those are private streets. The final plats are proposed as 2 phases. Phase 1 will include the phase that's already under construction and partially developed, which includes 18 lots and 2 tracts. And then phase 2 is for the western portion of the property, which includes 16 lots and 3 tracts, of which nothing has been constructed in that phase yet. Since each building is now on its own lot, separate water and sewer taps are required for each unit rather than a shared meter for the entire development. That language is being updated and brought forward to the City Council later this month as an amended development and maintenance agreement. As part of that amendment, platting may proceed prior to those infrastructure improvements being made or retrofitting in the first phase. However, they must be completed by the owner before they're able to sell any lots, should they decide to sell the lots in the future. All previous conditions with the amended preliminary.
Back up a second while you were talking about that.
Yeah.
So you're saying what's the requirement for them to have to go back to the things that are already developed and put the water meters in?
They have to retrofit. They do have to go back in and correct all those.
Yeah, but what's our trigger to make them do that?
That's all spelled out, will be spelled out in the development maintenance agreement. Essentially, they cannot sell any of those lots until that's been completed. They have to record that document, so that document would be made aware of to any future buyers.
Of the current ones and not the future ones?
Of the future ones will automatically
Yeah.
be permitted as
They
separate
won't be able
units.
to sell the current ones unless they change
Correct.
the water. Okay.
That has to be corrected before they
That's
can
all.
sell
All right, go
those. All previous conditions with the amended preliminary and final development plans will remain in effect. That does include the requirement for the extended driveways for both phases to increase off-street parking and reduce on-street parking. And with that, staff recommends approval of the preliminary plat and and both final plats with 2 conditions.
Yeah, I'd just like to clarify, so lot 26 is the only lot that will be undersized for what the required lot size is that correct?
So a number of the lots are actually smaller than what's allowed under the current code. The only setback reduction is on lot 26 because of the floodplain.
Okay.
The other lots, there's a number of them that do not meet the minimum depth requirements. But again, because this is already an approved development plan, they're drawing the lot lines based on that plan that's already been previously approved. And part of the reason for platting these as individual lots, per the developer, is that it does help gain financing. It's a lot easier to gain financing on individual lots as opposed to having to go refinance the property, since it's all on one property right now. So it should expedite the permitting and approval process to get this project completed sooner rather than later. We're on about 5 years now, and we only have about 15 buildings done. And so this should speed that process up and get this project completed sooner.
And will all of these be 3-family units that will
they-
be put in on all of these lots?
They are all triplexes except for, I believe, this last lot 16 at the end, is a duplex.
I guess the question that I had, since we do have, and it looks like we're looking at like 11, or I don't know the number of lots, I'm sorry, I misread that. But it does look like we have a number of them that are under that 7,800 square feet, and we're putting a tri-family unit in there, but we're reducing it 1,000 square feet from what our code is recommending. Is that, I'm just wondering, are we squeezing too much in, or are they trying to squeeze too much into those lots?
Well, again, the plat is following the previously approved subdivision plan. And so the lots, ideally, they would have done this originally in 2015, 2016. Instead, they're coming back and wanting to subdivide it now. And they're working within the plan that's already been approved. So the overall site plan and the density isn't changing. These are just the actual lot lines that are being established right now. So yes, ideally, this would have been done in 2016, but it wasn't. And so we're trying to find a way to accommodate this to keep this project moving forward and getting finished.
When was the first buildings built there?
I think so plan was approved in 2016. I think the first permits were 2018.
Probably occupied 19, 20?
Yeah, probably 2019 was when the first 3 or 4 buildings were done. And since then, it's been very sporadic. I think maybe 3 a year.
Maybe I'm not following something. You're talking about, we've got to make these improvements before they can sell the lots.
Mhm.
Is there one developer building all of the units?
Correct. It's the developer currently is building all of these units.
Well, why do you bring up selling the lots? They have to do that before they can sell the lots.
Because if he does decide to sell the properties, to sell the lots to individual I think his intent is to build all of this.
Okay, well,
But afterwards, once they're finished, if he wanted to sell them off as individual buildings, he would have that option.
the reason I ask, what if he decides to sell them and then somebody's gonna build something that doesn't match everything else? Is there some criteria set for what's gonna be built there?
Since it has an approved development plan, if he sells those, he has to essentially take those same plans and give that to the other builder. So they have a set of plans that are approved. They would need to build that same.
With the finishes and the
Yes.
floor plans and stuff?
Yep. Otherwise, we would require somebody new to come back and request to amend that to whatever style that they would want to build.
Okay. So nobody's gonna come in and buy a lot and build whatever they want on it?
No.
Okay.
How long, when was the first time they brought up to going below the 7,800? Was that just recently, or was it back in 16? Did we kind of know about that?
We just found that out recently when we actually got these plats.
Okay.
They had never provided us with any details on exactly how they wanted to subdivide this until we received this application.
In the packet, there was a aerial photo that showed, I think it was on the project summary page, and the lower photo on there does show some completed units. Are those all three-family units that are shown there?
Yes, those are all
Be that same type of
threeplexes.
footprint that we would be having?
With wider driveways.
Yes, that would just be carried around over the horseshoe street and go into the block to the west as well. And the driveways will be widened.
Are the streets going to be any different? Streets are still going to be the same width? Because I drove by today and there's people parked on curbs and sidewalks and.
And that's the reason why it was required that they go back in and they add an additional driveway space for each one of those units. Once they do that, there will be almost no space for on-street parking because you would be blocking either another driveway or a fire hydrant.
Yeah, we beat that to death earlier,
Yeah.
trying to do whatever we could.
So that won't really leave a lot of green space in the front of any of the units if you widen out the,
There's not a
Driveways.
lot, but we did have as part of that, we had the applicant back in the summer provide us with a more detailed landscape plan to provide landscaping in between those driveways.
They haven't done anything yet since the last time we went over that, though.
They have not.
Okay. We're still,
So we're still waiting. I think they're waiting to get this through the process, and then
before they pick up trash and stuff.
Noticed that as well today.
we've had discussions with a number of code issues that we have with the developer.
Are the people still mad living there?
I have not heard anything about any of those issues for quite a while.
Okay.
so any concerns from fire as far as,
The access in and out of the neighborhood, due to all the cars on the road, so. And they put that gravel road in because we required it when they were doing the first phase, because a neighborhood has to have two accesses in for fire protection, and it's not been well maintained since then. It should have been better maintained, but I drive it once a week.
Well, they're still gonna put no parking signs up, right?
Yes, and I believe they have
Sportsmen.
some up.
Do they? So.
I don't
so
know if they're
exactly-
they need to
exactly
enforce.
what we talked about.
They do need to
No
enforce
enforcement,
it.
but there's
So,
signs.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we inherited this problem, so.
Right.
any other questions, comments? Think anything at this point, if we can kind of get it moving forward, is going to be a win for everyone. Definitely do have some
Get
concerns.
it done, yeah.
If there's no other discussion, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
And at this point, we are approving the preliminary plat. There are three different items on the agenda, but this is for the preliminary plat.
One at a time.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second. Any final discussion? Do we have the roll call, please?
Mayor Larkey,
Yes.
Commissioner Walton,
Yes.
Chairman McPherson,
Aye.
Commissioner McDonough,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryan.
Aye.
All right. Move on to item B, which is FP 2023-07, and this is the application for a final plat of Autumn Woods Phase 1, lots 1 through 18, and tracks A and D, a 4.23 plus or minus acre multifamily subdivision generally located at the northwest corner of West Markey Road and Belton Avenue. And Director has already provided information on this. Are there any additional questions?
I'd make a motion that we approve the final plat 2023-07 as presented.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Motion and second. Any additional comments? Seeing none, can we have the roll call?
Commissioner McDonough,
Aye.
Councilmember Bryan,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor Larkey,
Yes.
Commissioner Walton,
Yes.
Chairman.
Aye. And we'll move on to item 3, or I'm sorry, item C, which is FP 2023-08, application for final plat for Autumn Woods Phase 2 for lots 19 through 34 and tracks B, C, and E, a 6.91 plus or minus acre multifamily subdivision generally located at the northwest corner of West Markey Road and Belton Avenue.
Motion to approve the final plat 2023-08 as presented.
Thank you.
I'll
Motion
second it.
and second. Thank you. Any final comments, questions? You have the roll call, please.
Chairman,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor Larkey,
Yes.
Commissioner McDonough,
Aye.
Commissioner Walton,
Aye.
Councilmember Bryan.
Aye.
All right. It has been approved. Next item will be an update on our comprehensive plan. Director?
Yes, staff did receive the week before Christmas an existing conditions analysis, market analysis report, public input analysis, and key recommendations from the Confluence team. So we're currently reviewing that and providing some feedback to them on those items. And in the meantime, they are working on the 4 sub-area plans, some concepts for those, which they have told us that they will have probably in mid-January. So just a reminder, those sub-areas include Old Town Belton, the North Scott Corridor, Markey Business Park, and then the North Cass Parkway interchange area. So we should be getting some more information on that soon. And then the next comp plan steering committee will be February 5th.
Okay. Very good. And any other items to report this evening?
Nope, just our next meeting will be Tuesday, January 16th, and we do have an agenda item for that meeting.
Very good. So I believe we have covered everything. Is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?